Okay, so it seems like there's been a pretty big update in terms of the whole Filian situation. Now, if you don't know, obviously, recently a lot of people have been wondering where she's been in terms of a hiatus. And well, more recently, we've had a countdown which has been ticking on a website called filianislost.com. Now, essentially, this has now reached 0 minutes. Now, many people thought they were baited. For example, people here saying nothing happened, what happened? And of course, the website also crashed, right? People saying Filian is still lost, but it seems like there's been a pretty big update in terms of this website, as it has now finally updated. Now, the last we heard is as initiating phase 1, the wall, and now the website is actually changed to say the wall. Now, this is very interesting. So, of course, this is what is coming up here. It just seems to be a big wall, right? It says Filian is lost. You can full screen it. Obviously, it's like kind of like an old, text thing. I don't know, like what you describe it, like an old Windows window. And it says log in and draw and chat with 146 plus players. So what it seems to me like is almost a little bit like a, what's it called? Place, r/place, that kind of stuff, where essentially people can add their own messages, add their own drawings and stuff like that. And it seems like that might be what is going on here. Now, there is a little bit of text down here as well, giving us a little bit more information saying Filian is lost. She went dark months ago. No posts, no streams, no signals, but we know she's listening. She always does. The wall is her frequency. Every mark you leave gets archived, a permanent record of everyone, everywhere, who showed up when she went quiet. Paint something, make noise, leave your mark in the archive, bring her back. So, yeah. Of course, as we know, a lot of people are still skeptical as to whether this is actually created by Filian or not, right? Is this just a fan that might be making a fun little website or whatever, or is this actually Filian? Now, to me, I feel like this is probably to do with Filian, right? I think, there's a high probability that it is due to the fact of, obviously the ARG channel coming back as well. On top of that, so again, I say the ARG channel has kind of changed now to like just Filian is lost, which, maybe it was just a coincidence. And there you go, it's just updated. You can see all of the fans and whatever that have been leaving their own messages on this wall, right, where they've just put hi. And it seems like it is going to be almost like an r/place type of situation, right? And I think, this is going to be something that at least will be kind of loading. Oh, wait, hold up. Here is a little bit more as well. Wait, this wasn't here last time. I think the page just refreshed. That's why. Signal archive. This is signal archive recently transmitted. It just says loading, which I can't click on anything. It just says load more. Now you got to bear in mind this page is probably a little bit buggy too, and that's probably why it crashed in the first place. Just to kind of let you know. So maybe some stuff not working might be intentional, and some stuff might not be intentional, of course, due to the amount of people probably trying to access this right now. And they say, did you find something? Submit a signal to the archive. So yeah, I don't exactly know what this is about, but it seems like there is something going on. And again, it's pretty interesting, right? Because if this is actually set up by Filian, this seems like a much better shot at the ARG. As I told you in the last kind of videos, I think that what this essentially is kind of like a soft reset of the last one. And now we're actually trying to do something. Now, maybe this is to do with the whole stuff that we've been seeing in terms of the graffiti. You guys saw, and we've covered the fact that there has been a lot of graffiti. There has been people with shirts that say Filian is lost on them, and all of that kind of stuff, which people have been spotting in different areas. So perhaps maybe that's what they're asking, because it basically says, you got the identification, which is, what platform it's come from, as well as the signal name, and then finally the city and country, which makes me think that has something to do with the whole, shirt thing and the graffiti thing, because these were all things dotted around in different locations. It was LA, New York, Toronto. There was a couple of other places as well that all came up. I think Japan as well. There was a couple. So again, I'm assuming it's got to have something to do with that, maybe. At least that's what my thought is. And I think that this recently transmitted thing might be for the form submissions. So I think essentially what is going to happen is people are going to start submitting these forms with the pictures that I was talking about, right? And, maybe Filian, whoever is running this website or whatever, will look through the forms and maybe post it to this recently transmitted thing. Obviously, I'll keep you guys up to date if anything does change like massively or whatever tomorrow. But of course, that is my kind of guess at it, right? That's my guess at what they mean by this. This is my guess at what is going on. And I think this is a pretty cool idea, right? It's just a little community thing to show a lot of people, want to be there. And I do think it is one of these things where, it's just to kind of build up more hype. It's just to kind of build up more things and leave this kind of permanent thing for Filian to have for her comeback. And obviously they say it's going to be, what did they say? They said, we know she's listening, says, everyone who showed up, is going to be a permanent record. So maybe it's going to be like a channel banner or something, because of course we know she doesn't have a channel banner or anything at the moment. So maybe it's going to become that or something along those lines. But it is very interesting, right? It is very interesting. And as I said, this is like, my guess would be that this is a kind of, rehash, soft restart of the whole ARG thing, whatever you want to call it. And again, we don't know when phase 2 is going to be. Maybe there's going to be a countdown after this happens or whatever. We don't know how long this rule's going to be up for. Maybe it's going to be up for weeks. Maybe it's going to be up for days. Maybe it's going to be up for only a day. We don't really know. But again, it seems like you can log in as well, which is pretty interesting. As I said, a lot of people have been wary about logging in. As I said, I think it is more than likely Filian, but if you're still wary, I think that is pretty understandable, right? Because of course, a lot of people don't want to give, their emails or whatever to a website that they don't know about. Now, of course, I've tried to like refresh this. Of course, people are already drawing certain things on the website. I've tried to refresh. If I refresh the website, there hasn't been any kind of update in terms of the like recently transmitted stuff. So again, that all stays the same. But as I said, that might change later down the line. It might be just one of those things that they've got to go through the forms and stuff first and then probably fill it out, because that is like your average like website form, right? Which will probably be sent to some kind of database, which they'll take a look at and maybe put it onto the recently, uploaded thing. So yeah, very interesting. And I think this is a very smart play from Filian. As I said, things have been a little bit all over the place with the ARG. So some people haven't been too happy with that. But I definitely think this is a much more consolidated, easy, fun way to kind of get back into streaming and to kind of get the community rallied, in something that everyone can do, right? Because with the ARG, sometimes, you might have some people that are already focused on certain things. And I think it still does have that element with the whole transmitting signal thing and maybe potentially seeing those graffiti, whatever things. That it still does have that kind of element where people can find things. But I do think at the same time, there is this element as well where people can just draw on a board, write messages and whatsoever, which is something that anyone can do, right? Anyone can do this. You don't have to be really into the ARG to do this. You don't have to be, the biggest detective in terms of this whole hiatus, right? You could do it, right? So I think that is why this is the case. And again, this is just me spitballing off the top of my head as to reasons as to why this has been done, and also as to what some of these things actually mean. But again, that is the most logical kind of, straightforward thing that I could see. Of course, they also have a link to a Twitter, which also goes to the wall. And they say hold. So again, it seems like they also have their own pages as well. I don't know what that's about. But again, this was also created in June 2026. So it was created today, this page, which again, that maybe that helps you in terms of whether this is legit or not, because it might not, because obviously it's a different account. But again, I feel like it could be legitimate, right? I'm gonna follow it as well, just keep an eye on everything that's going on. But yeah, everyone's saying hold. You got Alara, Kitsunero, all of these people as well in there, commenting as well. It seems like they have a Discord as well, which again I will go through in the next kind of video and show you guys what I found in the Discord, because it's a little bit harder. I can't just pull that up like I can Twitter. But again, yeah, I mean, that is essentially all there is for this situation so far. There hasn't been any updates in terms of her profiles or anything yet. So again, nothing's changed there, and her YouTube and all of that kind of stuff. But in terms of this website, it seems like this is the latest update, right? People have been kind of putting their own things there, and it is going to be a little bit like an r/place thing, it looks like. And this, I have a feeling, is going to be related to some of the images that have been going around about the graffiti or the t-shirts. I think it's more than likely going to be more so the t-shirts and the posters that have been kind of put around. I don't know if the graffiti was part of the Filian stuff, because of course graffiti sometimes can be a crime. So I don't know if like she's going to really be in on that, but of course, yeah, very, very interesting. And I think, if this is a part of it, it's going to be very, very cool to see what can kind of come next. But yeah, that's all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. So, yeah.